On the nose. It's great to see everybody here today. We have a few announcements to start, and then we're going to have our elected officials that are up here provide input on the panel. I'm Lori Vinicor, the President of the Alliance. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have our guests to be announced here. My Executive Vice President, Arnie Katz, will be providing that. For our special guests that aren't going to be speaking, that's who we announce right now.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. And before I forget, for those of you who celebrate, a very, very happy and healthy New Year. All right, let me announce all of the guests that are joining us today, please. Virginia Baker, County Administrator. Josie Marcobell, aide to Commissioner Woodward. Hilda Ojeda from the Property Appraiser's Office. Evelyn Dupuy from Senator Berman's office. Jessica Jansen, aide to Commissioner Woodward. Tony Keeler from Palm Beach Fire Rescue. Sherelle May from Joe Abruzzo's office, Captain Rob Sant from District 4, Major Chris Keene from District 4 PBSO, Nicole Carson, Supervisor of Elections Office, Ed Saul, Commissioner Maria Sachs' office, Dorothy Jacks, our Palm Beach County Appraiser, Roger Michaud from the Palm Beach County Appraiser's office, Dana Ackerman-White from Commissioner Barnett's office. Victoria Nolan, Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation. Virginia Saviello, aide to Mayor Weiss. Amy Chamberlain, aide to Representative Skidmore. Leslie Schreiber from Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. Lieutenant Wink from Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, District 4. Alan Johnson, assistant from the State Attorney's Office, and Daniel Listy, CEO of Delray Community Medical Center. Thank you all for being here.
Great. Now welcome everybody. Everybody gets a round of applause. So many things happened this summer. We've been a busy board, so many things. And as you know, I'm a woman of few words, and I'm not going to go through them all. You can read it in the newsletter that everybody receives, hard copies and by email, but there are a few special announcements. First of all, we have Rosie Bird from Lake Worth Drainage District is the new public information specialist. Rosemary Raymond is still on board, but it's good to see Rosie Bird there. She can answer some of your questions. Richard Gigliotti, can you please come up here? Thank you so much, Richard Gigliotti, right here. Yeah, he is one of our community members, and he wrote these such nice verses on the back of your information sheet on the insurance that we give suggestions for our elected officials. And thank you so much. And you get the Special Alliance Cup. Thank you. Edgar Allan Poe Award. Great, thank you for that. And also be in the newsletter. Great. Now, about just a few things about development. Of course, we did have a meeting about the extension of Atlantic Avenue, and we're working on that. And of course, the agricultural reserve that's a big issue. And you might have heard it's shrinking. No, the ag reserve is not shrinking. It is still there. It has the same boundaries, and we are still working to preserve it. The infrastructure is what's keeping us back from development because we should slow down some of that development if we want the infrastructure to keep up with it. But remember, we always talk about that proportionate share. If they pay their proportionate share, they're allowed to build the proportionate share of the road, even if the road's not there yet. October meeting, pick pick up your copy, we're going to have hard copies for you of the brand new changes in the Florida statute. We'll give you the whole statute, 718 or 720. All presidents, delegates, and alternates. You can have a copy. We'll have them next month for you. And Slip and Fall Prevention Month, we'll hear about that from our first responders. So right now we're going to hear from our first responders. First, we're going to hear from Captain Sand, and then we'll hear from Chief Stansberry, and then we'll hear from Congresswoman Lois Frankel, who's great to see you here today, and then our Vice Mayor Maria Sachs, and Dorothy Jackson, Karen Brill. We give the elected officials who are not speaking on the panel here a couple of minutes. So is Captain Sand here? Sure, come up. Great to see you.
Thank you, Lori. Good morning. Good morning. I'll give you something better than that. Worse. All right. All right, looks like a great turnout. Great turnout. Looks like we're going to have a busy morning, so I won't take up much of your time. I hope everybody had a happy and healthy and cool summer. It's a hot one out there. Ain't that a lie, huh? So, anyway, let me talk about traffic crashes. I'm going to start with some good news for you. Year to date, we are down to 6%. We're coming off a 10% spike. So last year to date, we were about 10%. So we're down, according to my fuzzy math, about 4%. I'll take it. I'll take it. So keep up the good work. It looks like you guys are really planning accordingly and leaving yourself enough time out there, and we really appreciate it. All right, so move on to the not so good news. I was hoping to bring you better news as far as the auto thefts and the burglaries, the auto burglaries. We were doing good for a while, but we're starting to see this creep back up on us again. All roads are leading back down to Broward and Dade. But folks, we're making it easy. And I'm not into blaming. You know, I've said it to you before, I'm not in the blaming business, I'm in the protection business. But we're making it too easy for them. We're leaving our cars still open. We're leaving valuables in plain view. Worst off, we're leaving our key fobs in the car. How can we combat that, right? We're working very hard with all the local communities, the security directors, gated communities, non-gated communities to get the message out. Please continue to watch your emails. I know you guys get pushed out a lot of information, but please look for the emails we sent you out on a crime prevention flyer on how to remember to take the key fobs out and just take that one extra step in locking those vehicles. We have video to prove that it's working because a lot of these thieves that are trying to get into the cars, they'll bypass the car when it's locked. We call it crime displacement, but I'll take it, right? I hate to be the neighbor that, never mind. So anyway, please do your part and let us do the rest. Last but not, well, I won't say last but not least, but we're getting there. Please mark your calendars, November 1st. I won't get into too much detail with you because there's going to be a lot of information coming out over the next few weeks. We're holding and hosting a law enforcement expo here, November 1st. Don't panic, you're going to get all the information, we'll bring it up again, but we're joining forces with our partners to the North and South, District 6 and District 7, and our local stakeholders, and we're going to put on a nice expo for you as well. I think you guys will find some value in it. I also want to wish all of you that it applies to happy holidays. We're ready for the high holy days. And the traffic around our schools, everything's no problem, no reports of concern. So with that, I look forward to seeing you guys next month. Thank you.
Thank you for your update. And we have Chief Stansberry. We have something to hear about Slip and Fall Prevention and Awareness Month.
Hello everyone, my name is Bill Stansberry. I'm the district chief here at the fire department in Battalion 4. September is Fall Prevention and Awareness Month. So there's lots of things going on to educate you all about how to hopefully not fall and prevent it. Be aware about things that can cause some hazards in it. I got a flyer here, let me try to read it for you. We're having a multi-agency fall prevention. We have these flyers that are out on our table. Fire rescue has a table outside with the flyers on it. There's 5 different events where they will give some education about fall prevention. There's free screenings and information. So we have our community education person with the fire department. Her name is Dottie Dietrich. She's at the table out there. So pick up a flyer and you can see the dates where they're having these classes. It looks like the closest one to here is the Bolin Center in Boca Raton on September 19th. And there's others throughout the county as well. And then some other issues that we have to go over that can help you out is we have at our table, we have what's called the vial of life. This is something that you fill out before an emergency. You can put this in your freezer is where we put it, or in your refrigerator. So in the need that fire or rescue ever comes to your house and you're unable to talk to us, or if you're unconscious, we can look in your freezer or your fridge and we find this, and this has all the information. It'll have like what hospital you want to go to, your physician's name, any medical problems or current medications that you're on. So this just provides us with a little bit of information on you so we can give it over to the hospital staff when we get there. Another thing that we have is called the Yellow Dot. The Yellow Dot program is basically the same thing as a vial of life, but this is for your car. So there's lots of information in this here that you fill out, your medical problems, medication, what hospitals you want to go to, and you stick this on the back of your window, in your back of your car, your rear window. So if fire or rescue ever comes and you're unresponsive or unconscious after a vehicle accident, we see this in the back window. We'll know that you have this in your glove compartment, and we'll look and we'll give you information. Another thing that we have, we put these on our front windows. These are for pets. So if there ever is a fire at your house, this has the number of dogs and the number of cats that are in your house, so we know what we're looking for. So this just helps us hopefully get all the animals out if there's ever a fire. Some other things we have going on here is starting on September 18th, we have Tai Chi classes. They actually are offered here. They're going to be outside under the pavilion. There are free classes, weekdays, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 9:30, and that'll go on for a year. Tai Chi is a balance and stability training. It helps you overall. I believe Daniel Listy with Delray Hospital knows some Tai Chi techniques if anyone wants to get with him after the meeting. So again, we have these flyers here. They're on our table, so feel free to get a flyer. And some information with the fire department. We have a new station that is being built on Flavor Picked and Lyons. That will hopefully be done before November. It's going to be a trailer there while we build the main station, so that'll help out with call volume and response times. We have another station going up on La Chalet and Military. That's a little north, but that'll help in response times in that zone. And so anyone needs us, please call 911 and take a chance and get educated on fall prevention so you can stay safe.
Thanks for all that. It is great to review that every once in a while. Very good. And remember, the Alliance was very instrumental with the Yellow Dot program, getting that with the state elected officials. We have Congresswoman Lois Frankel. Sure. Just to let you know the way this morning is going to go, we're going to hear from Congresswoman Lois Frankel, then Maria Sachs, Vice Mayor Sachs, Dorothy Jacks, property appraiser, then Karen Brill. And then we'll hear from each one of our elected officials here. They'll introduce themselves, and they'll each have about 5 minutes you can have to talk about the issues, whatever you think, even if you need a little more time, each one. And we'll have questions. We should wrap it up by 11 o'clock, but we will see how it goes. Here you go.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
What a great group. Everybody have a great summer? It was hot. All right. I'm Lois Frankel, your member of Congress. I'm very proud to represent you. Listen, I'm going to start with good news. You want some good news? Yes. Okay. Here's the good news. I won't talk about the current Congress. That's not good news. But here's the thing. President Biden, his first 2 years in office, I will say, were the best 2 years really that I've ever served in the Congress. And a lot of the things that we passed are now getting implemented. For example, historic infrastructure bill. And do anybody here drink water? We're actually cleaning up the water in Del Rey. All right. Okay. What about Medicare? Anybody on Medicare? Nobody? All right, here's some good news. Well, first of all, insulin is now capped at $35 a month. Used to be, for some people, we're paying almost $600 a month. Starting next year, I don't know if you know this, but we finally passed a law that allows Medicare to negotiate the cost of prescription drugs. So starting next year, we're in the process of the negotiation. There will be many drugs that people are using that are not generic. That's going to bring that cost down. All right? And if you stick around, in a couple of years, the out-of-pocket expense for drugs will be no more than $2,000 a year. That's a really good one. What'd you say? Oh, thank the Democrats. All right. We're not partisan. I'll thank myself. Thank you, Lois. Thank you for voting for that. And also, this is something else you should know. All vaccines are now free. Don't let anybody charge you for that shingle shot or any kind of vaccine. Those are for free. Here's something else. In terms of energy and reducing your energy, there's lots of tax credits now for all kinds of things, whether it's weatherization, new air conditioners, new electric stoves, new clothes dryers, water heaters, and so forth. If anybody's interested, talk to your accountant. And let me also follow up and thank you to our first responders here. Do a great job, Sheriff, firefighters. Thank you so much. And I also wanted to say this. I get to work with all your elected officials, and you have the best. Really, thank you all. It is great.
Lois, what is the new vaccination coming out?
The new vaccination, which I'm not in charge of, end of this month, there should be the new COVID shots. Everybody should line up. Again, that's free. I want to follow up just on this fire rescue deal and the fall prevention. What is the number? This is a test. What's the #1 cause of injury to people over 65? Okay. Give me a number. How many falls in the year in America? What do you think? People over 65. Give me a number. 37 million. How much do you think it costs the healthcare economy? Take a guess.
Billions.
50 billion. But here's the good news. There are many, many ways to prevent falls. Does anybody know somebody who has fallen? I fell last year, broke my pinky. My mother fell and broke her leg. She's good now. Nobody, if you are alive, you know someone who's fallen, right? I was able to bring back a very big grant to Palm Beach County for a fall prevention program. It is kicking off here. It's kicking off here. Because I think there are a few people over 65. I'm not sure. But it's kicking off here September 22nd. And we're going to roll out the program. You're going to get plenty of news about that. But we're going to teach you on balance and how to stay on your feet. But there's lots of other ways too. And let me just, you have a lot of people to hear from, so I'm going to end by this. If you call my office if you need me, we're here to serve. Teachers from my office is here, wave. Felicia's on vacation. Okay, she'll be back. And anybody here vote by mail? Yes. Okay. You know that everyone's been taken off vote by mail, so if you want to vote by mail again, you got to go to call the supervisor elections, or get on their webpage and ask for your vote by mail. And then I'm going to leave it like this to my fellow colleagues up here. This is a nonpartisan announcement. You better let your youth should in any means you have, legal, let your state legislature, these guys are great, they know this, tell them to stop with the culture wars and get the insurance rates down and get the cost of housing down and to do their job. And I know these guys are fighting for that, and they'll let me know about that. And I'll end by saying, thank you. Well, how wonderful to see the civic involvement of this organization. You're really making the community a better place to live. It's great and an honor to represent you. Here you go, Laura.
Thank you so much for coming. And thank you for everything you do for us. And we have, great, don't fall. We have Vice Mayor Maria Sachs, and she has a special announcement about this Friday, right here. She's got a really special announcement.
Lori, if I fall, will one of those great EMS officers catch me? I'm Maria Sachs, I'm your county commissioner. Were those bagels good or okay? They were good, they were good, okay. Guess what? This Friday, Ed Saul is getting the same bagels right here at 10 o'clock. So, you know, we could go the whole month without ever having to go out and get bagels for ourselves. Anyways, folks, this Friday, we're going to have Coffee with Maria. And what that means basically is that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to listen to all of you about 3 major topics. Of course, if you have another topic, I'll hear it, because that's what it's all about. First topic is we're going to have some really nice EMS officers come over and talk to us about balance, to make sure that when we walk around that we don't fall. And that is because of Congresswoman Lois Frankel got from our federal government. I won't tell you how much money she got, but she got a lot. She got a lot. She got a lot. And that's for us. And by God, if we don't spend it, what's going to happen, right? Someone else, it's going to go back in the budget. So let's make sure there's going to be a big opening that Lois told you about. But this Friday, we're going to start off with learning how to be careful and not to fall. That's for everybody. I don't care how old you are, that's for everybody. The second thing we're going to talk about is our favorite topic, Lions Road. Lions Road, right? And those wonderful buckets out there, the big barrels that they have. So come on out. We'll have coffee, we'll have bagels. The third thing we're going to talk about is what's going on in the Ag Reserve about the land swap. So bring a guest, bring whoever you want, but make sure that you're here Friday morning, 10 o'clock, and we're going to start. We're going to have a lot of good people here to talk about it. Our county administrator, Virginia Baker, who's sitting over here trying to be inconspicuous, is going to open it up. And we're going to hear from our engineers. This is your opportunity to hear from your county government. Because most folks here, your first contact with government is with the county. We don't have city mayors out here. We don't have cities. We also don't have city taxes. So the good news, this is your opportunity right here, 10 a.m. Friday, to speak directly to your county government. And I look forward to seeing you there. Coffee's going to be pretty good. I'll even have some espresso for those who want that. But we're going to have good coffee, good bagels, and good conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura, for allowing me.
Thank you for all you do too. Your office gets a tremendous number of calls with all the issues that we have here. Dorothy Jacks, property appraiser.
Thank you, Lori. See, Lori's got us programmed. We're coming up here. So I just want to say good morning. Pleasure to be with you. I wanted to introduce Roger Mashad, who is with you today from my office. He's going to be here from this point forward. He has been with me 22 years and has worked on both the exemption side and the value side. You recently got a notice from me, a notice of proposed taxes. I hope you all opened it. Took a look at it, good. You have until next Monday to file an appeal if you want to file an appeal. Although if your taxes are reasonable, I hope you'll just keep right on going till you get your bill in November. But you're welcome to file an appeal, of course. I will mention that the widower's exemption went up from $10 to $100. It may have made some of your taxes go down, which is great. That was something we worked on this year with our friends here in the Florida legislature. They're the ones who made that happen. I also just want to mention to you that if you have new residents in your communities who are just coming to Florida, make sure they're filing for homestead exemption. Very important, they don't forget. You have to file in order to receive the benefit. So just tell them that. Anybody new, say, did you file for homestead? And if not, bring them with you to this meeting, because we always have a table in the back. Hilda's with us today. Normally Howie is with us, and he or she will take your homestead application here at this meeting. So, or you can come visit our office on Atlantic in Delray. We're right next to the sheriff's office at Cumberland and Atlantic. We're the safest office in Palm Beach County, right? Anyway, it's great to chat with you. I won't take up too much of your time. I know this is a really interesting subject to me as well. Property taxes and insurance tend to go hand in hand for homeowners. We try to keep them fair and equitable on the property tax side, but I know this is an interesting subject. So nice to be with you, and thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Fraser, Dorothy Jacks. And we have Karen Brill, the vice chair. Are you still the vice chair? One of these days you're going to be the chair of the school board. And following that, we usually have a short commercial from the people who sponsored our breakfast, but they're not here today. I do believe it was ADT. So thank you for, we always have a sponsor for the breakfast, but there'll be no commercial. We're going to go right into the main premiere here.
Thank you. So what a huge turnout. And I have to tell you, we are all struggling with our homeowners insurance. So I won't take much of your time. I missed all of you. I haven't seen you in a while due to conflicts in my schedule and new grandbabies. And I got to tell you, I never knew that changing diapers would be so much fun. So, quick update on our schools, because I know that all of you are interested in education. I'm sure you heard on the news we opened 2 beautiful new schools, Dr. Joaquin Garcia High School, as well as the new West Boynton Middle School. They're gorgeous. Now, news on the education front. Still up to today and going forward, hopefully, we have not banned one book in Palm Beach County. We relocated a few, but we haven't banned them. Also, in Palm Beach County, we are teaching AP Psychology the entire course. Little hiccup when the superintendent made a premature announcement, which we all beat him up on, but we're all good now. And now it comes to African American history. Well, we are teaching factual history in Palm Beach County. So tonight we're working on our legislative priorities. We know we have a target on our back, but we are strong, we are mighty. So one piece of news for Dr. Vinocour and of the Alliance. I don't know if you have heard, but I got word that the K-8 dual language charter school, Bridge Prep on Happy Hollow Road, is being kicked out of their location. The owner of the property has said that they've sold it. It's a little bit kind of weird, because as a realtor, I know that when you sell a property and you have a tenant, they usually stay, so we're looking into that. But that charter school will be leaving your area. And so I will leave you with this news and just wish all of you who are celebrating Shana Tova a happy and a healthy new year.
Thank you for all the work you do. For all the work you do on that school board. Hours and hours and hours, I know. Okay, this is the way I'm going to have Senator Tina Polsky will lead. We'll just go right down the row, and we just want to hear your thoughts about the last legislative session, what's going to happen this coming legislative session, all about insurance issues we had today. I have a few questions too from people in the audience. We'll pick up some more, I'm sure. And then we'll go right down to our county mayor, and he will give us his thoughts too about what the county's going to be doing, because they all go to Tallahassee for the legislative session. So I'm just going to take a back seat here. Go ahead, Senator Tina Polsky. If you can tell us your district and your area would be good. And it's not here.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I am Tina Polsky. I miss you all. I used to represent the areas of Delray, West Delray, for 4 years. And now, after redistricting, I kind of swapped out with Senator Berman, who is a fantastic representative for you. And I now just represent Boca in Palm Beach County, and the rest is Broward. So that's kind of what happens with redistricting every 10 years. But I live in Boca. I'm the current chair of the Palm Beach delegation for another week or so. And so I'm very, very involved in Palm Beach County. And since I started my legislative career with you all, you'll always be, a part of my heart. And I was thrilled that Lori invited me to speak at this. So property insurance is the #1 issue that we hear in all of our offices from our constituents. It is the #1 economic issue affecting all Floridians. And my general take from this past legislative session is we just didn't do enough. It's just not been the focus. As Congresswoman Frankel said, we wasted a lot of time on culture wars and nonsense. And as Karen Brill said, books and pronouns and courses. This is not what the state legislature should be working on. We have a great school board. They can handle that. We shouldn't be telling them what to do. We should be working on property insurance because it's a statewide problem. So what happened was there were a couple of us, we started together. We've been in office for 5 years. And only about 2 years ago did we ever start doing anything in property insurance. But they have known that this problem is going on. And it was ignored. So there were a couple of bills, and then the biggest bill happened last December in a special session. And we have 9 weeks of regular session. And we could have really gotten a lot done last year and the year before in that time. We have hundreds of lawyers, we have experts, we could have gotten public testimony, we could have really worked through this issue. It is obviously incredibly complex and there are no easy answers, and I'm not going to pretend that there are. But you do not tap property insurance in a 3-day special session, and that's what we did. A special session that's all we do. There's, not everyone is in a committee, not everyone sees the bill, it just goes right to the floor. And when it's on the floor, it has to match, the House has to match the Senate, and then the governor has to sign. They took no changes whatsoever. So whatever bill they put out, that was the bill that was going to pass. It was just performance. There was nothing that we could do to change it. We all offered many amendments, good ideas that we had to help our constituents, and not a single amendment was taken to the bill. It was their way or the highway. And what their way did in this special session bill was basically hurt consumers because almost all that they targeted was litigation. Now we do have a litigation problem where too many people sue their insurance companies, and it costs a lot of money to insurance companies. There's no doubt that that's an issue. There's doubt as to the studies that they put forth claiming the statistics. There's a lot of doubt about that. But one of the reasons why there's so much litigation is because we have a lot of claims because of our climate, but also because the insurance companies in Florida notoriously pay very late and underpay and offer underpayment. And so how do you get the payment that you're looking for? The way it's been done for many years is you hire an attorney, and once an attorney is involved, you get a mediation conference, you get an offer of settlement, they'll pay your lawyer, you get the amount of money you need to fix your home, and you move on. But the insurance industry was complaining, all this litigation is costing us too much money. We're settling too many cases, it shouldn't be that way. There were also some mechanisms that made sure that insurance companies acted in good faith. They were called bad faith lawsuits. That was pretty much wiped away with this bill. So I understand the need to curb litigation, and there were some things we could have done, shortening the time frame, cutting down on fraud, but that wasn't the main focus of the bill. The main focus was just litigation, and what's going to happen is if any of you have a claim, and you do not get satisfaction from your insurance company, you've been paying your premiums all along, and some of you have never had a claim, and the rates are going up, and you don't get paid timely or what you expect to be paid, and you have to hire a lawyer, and let's say you win in court, there is no longer any attorney's fees that will be going to your attorney. That means, let's say you get $20,000 to fix your roof, you have to pay your attorney out of the $20,000. So you are shorted that money. So they are trying to prevent litigation. So what is the point of this? To bring in more insurance companies. If you make this sort of an anti-litigation state, more companies will say, hey, this is a good place to do business for them, the insurance companies. And I'm not here to bash the insurance companies. I think that there have been a lot of problems, and I think one of the problems that we've had in our government, our leadership, over a long time is a lack of enforcement of regulations and laws. And we haven't focused enough on making sure the insurance companies do the right thing. So this is where we are. The bill, last night I did this town hall with a Republican state representative next to me who represents the Treasure Coast and a couple of insurance experts. And everyone kept saying, we need 18 months to 2 years. And then what I mentioned, the competition with other insurance companies coming in, magically your rates will decline. Well, nobody's rates have declined. It's been a year since we've had this bill, and we, we're not seeing it. And they wouldn't take, as I mentioned, any of the suggestions that we had to help people in the interim. We have so much money in the state of Florida. They love to brag about it. I analyzed some budget items, very quickly came up with $192 million of nonsense. Money that's paid out that, I won't get into right now. If we have more time, I will later. That we could use for helping homeowners, hiring more investigators, getting the insurance companies to do the right thing. So there are options and ideas, and I'm sure I'm going to pass it along to my colleagues to get a little bit more into the weeds of this, and we'll be very happy to answer your questions. There are no easy answers. I wish we had one. But I will say that the focus has not been there. The will has not been there, but we are doing everything we can, us in the super minority in Tallahassee, but we don't have a lot of power. So we're going to continue to fight for you and do what we can to try to get these rates down, but it's not going to be for a while. I'm very sorry to say. Representative Casello.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joe Casello. I represent District 90. With the redistricting, I now encompasses all of Boynton Beach and all of Delray Beach. So proud to be down here representing many of you. First of all and foremost, I'd like to introduce my aide, Troy Ross. He's my legislative aide up here in Tallahassee. And I can tell you, I think everyone up here on this panel will attest to how the importance of a good legislative aide is. And Troy started his career with Representative Hager, so that takes you way back there. But to build on what a little bit about the senator had said, first and foremost, insurance, it's a bipartisan thing. It's not about a Republican or a Democrat thing. But remember one thing, we sit here, us, in a minority. There's super majorities in both houses, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives. And what that does, it takes all the back and forth negotiations. You heard the senator mention that we put many amendments forward to try to help the insurance consumer. And they were all rejected. It's their way or the highway. And that's not how government should work. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I am a insurance expert. I'm not. But I know what's right and what's wrong. And I know when they call us up to Tallahassee, there's a special reason for special sessions. It's supposed to be special. They sent us up there twice on special sessions on the taxpayer dollar, and we accomplished really not much, in my opinion, as far as helping your bottom line pocketbook. It's what we did do up there, what it's called reinsurance. One special session, we gave the insurers $2 billion of your tax dollars to help them mitigate costs. We went up to the second session, We gave them another $1 billion. Now, this was supposed to have, like the senator said, the trickle-down effect. I don't think anyone has seen that yet. A couple of my colleagues up here, I hope they share their personal stories. It's an interesting scenario because my office, that's what the majority of the calls are, is about the insurance. And I don't have an answer. I really don't. I come from public safety. I was a firefighter for many years. So my expertise is more in the public safety and getting legislation passed. But I sit there and I see what's happening. I'll tell you a real quick story. We have a colleague up there, sits across the aisle, and once again, going along with the game plan of the governor, or the majority, he later on puts on social media that they canceled his insurance. And now we should be doing something up there in Tallahassee. And where was he when we were up there in special session? One other thing that they did change, real quick, is the assignment of benefits, where you used to be able to get a check and give it to a contractor to fix whatever needs fixed. That no longer can happen. You've got to negotiate with the insurance company yourself. They've cut down the windows of litigation, where you can actually take the insurance company to litigation. As the senator said, there's no more one-way attorney fees. Whatever you win, if you win, that money comes out of your share. You have to pay the lawyer out of that. So if it's a $20,000 and the lawyer charges you $5,000, you only have $15,000 to fix whatever problem that you have. So we're going to be going back up there. I think this issue has affected enough people on both sides now. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing anymore. It's a crisis here in Florida. And if we don't get a handle on it, people are going to start losing their homes. That's what's going to happen. If you have any type of mortgage, you've got to have a home insurance. And the way the prices are going up, in some cases double, some cases cancel for no reason. And we can't continue. We've got to come up with some answers. And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that I have that special, that knowledge on how to fix it. But oh, let's get okay.
Got him on the grass.
But we're going to be going back up there in a week or so for committee weeks. And this is going to be the hot button topic up there. Hopefully, I know a couple of my colleagues here on my left, they have some ideas on how we can move forward with this issue. And I'm anxious to hear them. So thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm David Silvers. I represent House District 89, which is Central Palm Beach County, basically Palm Beach. You hear me now? Great, thank you. Sorry about that. I'm David Silvers. I represent House District 89, which is Central Palm Beach County, basically Lantana up to West Palm Beach. So I do want to make a comment, piggybacking off what Representative Casello said. This is personal. It's going to be personal for some of us, and it is personal for me. I was with the same insurer for 17 and a half years. I made 0 claims. I was notified I'm being dropped in 10 days. That's fun. I had no hurricane season. So, you can't hear me? All right. I'm being dropped by my insurance policy, my insurance carrier. I've been with the same carrier for 17 and a half years, made 0 claims. And right in the middle of hurricane season, and by September 16th, I have to have a new policy. Yeah. Evidently, Lloyd's of London is really the only maybe covering anybody here in the state of Florida. But I remember what Senator Polsky said, that we've been passing bills that really don't have much teeth to them, if they have any teeth at all. Going back to 2021, so this is a couple of years ago, Senate Bill 76 was passed. And Senate Bill 76, on its face, you maybe thought, okay, this will bring more accountability, Office of Insurance Regulation, requiring data on residential policies. but there were some alarming small little details that people aren't talking about. The bill reduces from 3 to 2 years the time allowed for the insurer to file a property insurance claim, a supplemental claim or reopen a claim, including a claim issued by a surplus lines insurer. So that basically reduces your ability to go back. What if if you make a claim and the adjuster goes, well, no, it should be half that, and then everything's settled, but then 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, now you may be blocked from ever making a supplemental claim. And that's what's really scary. So this has not been, this wasn't just in 2022 with our special session. It really did nothing. This is going back years now. This is now my 7th year in the legislature. Next year, or next session, will be my 8th in the House. And it's going on year in and year out. You're not really getting much. You get a lot of action, but it's not real action. And what I would like to see, one idea I have, Representative Casello and myself were chatting about, I would like to see if you offer property in another state here in the United States, but you want to offer auto, you should be required to offer windstorm. Currently, you're required to provide certain property insurance, but not windstorm. And I think that would be at least a move in the right direction. So that's one of the ideas. So is anybody here? Raise your hand if you have had your insurance, you've been notified that your insurance is going to be canceled before the end of the year. Sorry. Not this year, not this year. So, I'm right there with you, for everybody who held up their hands. I feel your pain, and this is not an easy subject. This is a very complicated subject matter, but it's something that we're going to fight for, and I'm going to work on trying to get more insurers here into the state and off of citizens. And also, this is another item off Senate Bill 76 that we haven't discussed yet. Representative Casello mentioned that we gave billions of dollars for reinsurance to a lot of these insurers, right? Their cost is going down. How come that's not required to be, how come the lower cost is not being, we're not seeing it as consumers? I think that should be required as well. So, thank you very much for having me here. I'm going to end
Good morning. I'm Kelly Skidmore. I represent District 92, which is western portions of Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and Boynton Beach. I am so excited to be here today. What an enormous turnout. I know that this is an important issue to everyone here because, as all of my colleagues have said, it's the #1 issue we hear about in our offices. So I'm going to start off with a question. How many people in here own an insurance company? Every single one of you should be raising your hand because you own Citizens Property Insurance Company. You own it. You are a taxpayer in Florida. You own Citizens Property Insurance. And this is important for you to understand because as we get closer to having 1 million insureds, we get closer to not having the ability to pay out claims. And when our insurance company can't pay out the claims that it needs to pay out, we are all going to be assessed for the difference. So when you hear about people wanting to migrate, or you hear about the state wanting insureds to migrate out of Citizens, that is a good thing because we have too much exposure. But when you're the insurer of last resort, which is what Citizens was intended to be, and you are the only one who will write in the state of Florida for a particular property, that's where everybody has to go. What Representative Silvers just said is we need more competition in the state. There are certain things we can do to make sure we get that competition. But I want to talk to you about something that I talk to everyone about when we talk about property insurance, and that is a national catastrophic risk pool. If anybody saw the Palm Beach Post this morning, I had an editorial in the paper for Congress to create a national catastrophic risk pool. Does everybody understand flood insurance and how flood insurance works? Typically, a very low premium. You know why? Because it's spread across the entire country. That is what we need, not just for Florida, but for other states that regularly have catastrophes. A national catastrophic risk pool spreads the risk and reduces the cost, the actual basis of what insurance is. And so for those of you who are thinking, oh my goodness, why would anyone in North Dakota want to be involved in a national catastrophic risk pool. Because when the federal government comes into a state to bail it out from a catastrophe, they don't leave North Dakota taxes in Washington. They bring them with them. So everybody is paying. We're paying anyway, only we're paying reactively instead of proactively. So we're not covering ourselves, we're not spreading the risk, and we're not reducing the cost. If we took just the windstorm portion of our insurance premiums out, and we had a national insurance premium to pay, it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars across, millions of dollars across our state that would be saved by individual consumers. For more than 25 years, Florida has been trying to tackle this issue. We tinker a little bit here, we change a little bit over there. All of the things that we've done in the last couple of years have not been for consumers. Not even a little bit was it for consumers. It was all about, quote unquote, air quotes here, stabilizing the industry. Stabilize the industry, we still have companies leaving, not because they're insolvent, as Sam Fleischman reminds me all the time. They get to leave because they don't want to write here anymore, and there's no repercussion for that. We need to start looking at why consumers are suffering and how we fix the consumer portion of this. Listen, we have to have a stabilized industry. I'm not saying that we don't. But when all you do is focus on one side of the problem, you're going to create bigger problems for the other side, which is what we're on. So not only as individuals are we facing rising insurance premiums for our own properties or no insurance available for our own properties, we're on the hook for citizens. This is really important stuff, and you can tell how important it is by how many people came out today to hear about it. You have sympathetic legislators here who understand and want to do the right thing for consumers. We don't have all the people we need in Tallahassee thinking the same way that we do, and that this is a consumer-driven issue, not an industry-driven issue anymore. The crisis isn't for the industry. The crisis now is for homeowners. When you couple the insurance premium with the rising cost of homes, because of all the other things that are happening, it is, Floridians can't afford Florida, and that is wrong. So I appreciate everyone being here. I think the solution is a national solution because Florida has not been able to get it right, and it has to admit it needs help.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Greg Weiss, and I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the mayor of Palm Beach County. And it's a real honor to be with you this morning and with this esteemed panel of state representatives. So I'm going to start off by sharing my personal story. I have a home and I live in West Palm Beach. And a number of years ago, the only place I could get insurance was Citizens for my home. When Governor or Senator Rick Scott was governor of Florida, they created a plan, and that forced Citizens to start dropping coverage. So my insurance was canceled, my windstorm was canceled by Citizens, and I was forced into the open market. When the last policy I received, my windstorm was $10,000 a year. That was 2 years ago. I paid off my note on my house, and I canceled my insurance because it went from $10,000 to $20,000 a year. That's unsustainable, and quite frankly, you can't just, after a few years, you save enough money to pay the repairs, but how many people are in a position to pay off their notes? That's not the right solution. The solution is to fix the insurance market here in Florida so that everybody can afford it. You know, I was looking through, you know, some of the suggestions on what we should do. I mean, and I agree, a national catastrophic insurance program makes a lot of sense, and we should be advocating for that. Because I talk to friends across the country, whether they're in Louisiana, whether they're in Texas, whether they're in California, whether they're in the Midwest, people are getting hit with more intense weather. There are fires. There are floods and there are hurricanes that are hitting major parts of this country, so nobody is immune to it. And it's time that we do something different and that we treat these catastrophes because they are a national issue, and that we come together, because that will help support making insurance affordable. Next, I will tell you that the county is undertaking a vulnerability assessment. We are looking all across the county, and we will be reporting to the state our vulnerable assets. But important as homeowners, as property owners, is that we look at our own resilience. We have very strong building codes here in Palm Beach County, as they do in Broward and Miami-Dade. Not every part of the state has the same building codes. It's important that we have the same building codes all across the state, because when one area has an issue, we all pay for it. Because the insurance companies, when they establish the risk, and that's another thing we need to be looking at, is how they're looking at the risk. Who is really vulnerable, and are people being assessed the fair amount of risk? And the other thing I would say is looking at insurance policies, and you should be looking at your own. Are you insuring your property, the ground underneath your structure? Are you insuring your structure? Because the ground's not going anywhere. And what I've seen happen in the past is insurers are insuring their actual property, the dirt. And that's never going to get paid off by an insurance company for windstorm. So as we approach going back up into session, our county, we hire lobbyists. All of us go up there and we lobby our state legislators in Palm Beach County and within leadership up there as well. And I can tell you that affordable housing and insurance and assessments for repairs are going to be top of mind for us as items that we're going to be bringing up to the legislature and representing you up there. Because nobody has been said all along. So many of us can no longer afford Florida. You know, we're being driven out of the state by all these extra costs that are being put on top of us. So we're committed to work with our state legislators. I don't think anything should be taken off the table, but we need to make sure that we have a strong, vibrant insurance market that can function, and right now we don't.
Thank you very much for all of your comments initially. If we can go through some of these questions, then we'll have more information here from you, I'm sure. I'll start out with Jack Kay from Seven Bridges. I know the answer to this, but I'll let you know. For David Silvers, you said Lloyd's of London may be the only place to get homeowners insurance. Isn't there a Florida state-owned company that must provide coverage to citizens?
If you find it, let me know.
Yeah, there is, but it's...
There's beyond Citizens, I mean...
Citizens is much more money it would be than Lloyd's of London. Yeah, that's, Lloyd's of London is one of the only ones that, I have it. I did have to get, I was dropped from my insurance and I had to get Lloyd's of London. It was the only company that was selling insurance at the time. Otherwise, I would have had to go to Citizens, which would have been more money. That's the issue, correct?
Yes. Actually, I wanted to mention something else that I didn't mention before. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes. Sorry. So we have building codes here in South Florida. We're all pretty much familiar with that after Andrew in 1992 to make our structures more resilient to these catastrophic storms. But we don't see those same type of building regulations in the northern part of the state, in the Panhandle, the Bend. As we just saw with the hurricane that went through the Bend, the concern was how many billions of dollars of damage is that going to cause? I strongly believe in having a statewide building code to require any structures built in the state of Florida, and then maybe you can have more companies coming into the state of Florida. But also, if you have billions of dollars of damage of a windstorm in the northern part of the state, we're going to feel the effects of it down here. So that's just another idea that I have for the upcoming session.
Great, thank you.
Sorry you couldn't hear me before.
I have also, the Alliance put out this, and everybody has that for some of our suggestions. And I've also been doing some other research with other property owners, and I have other suggestions too, which I'll just tell you in a minute. But Gigi from Huntington Lakes, Section 4. Anyone, she watched the special on Channel 5 last night, and someone said there was a grant here to allow residents to get wind mitigation for insurance at no cost. Why wasn't this publicized? I paid to have the mitigation done.
Hi. I was going to give a couple practical ideas, and that's one of them. The website is called MySafeFLHome. MySafeFLHome.com. They will pay for a wind mitigation report. If that comes back favorably, you can, it can help lower your insurance rates. There is a $10,000 grant available if your home is valued at $700,000 or less, and it is homesteaded to you only. But there are not, I'm not an expert in this, so I won't be able to answer like if you qualify, don't qualify. Some people do not qualify. There was a woman in the audience, I was there last night, there was a woman in the audience who said she put in all new hurricane impact windows, all new doors, a new roof, and her insurance went up. So you can do all these things and it may not help your insurance. Yes, you should try to take advantage of this program if you qualify. There's a limited amount of funds. I believe there is still money available. I don't know if any of my colleagues have any more information about it. As far as advertising, I can't answer that. You know, I don't know what the state did to let people know this was available. It would have been nice if your insurance agent told you. The other advice that was given by an insurance agent who was on the panel last night said, you know, shop around with different insurance agents because each insurance agent only represents so many companies. So try different ones to see if perhaps they have a different company that might help you. There are some more coming into the state, so you know, keep looking. The rates change every single day, so don't ever stop if you need to lower your insurance premium. Just keep looking and try some different options.
Condos are not eligible. Please write your legislature next year's ag condo.
Okay.
Make the state of Florida pay their share directly to the contractor. Right now, the homeowner has to pay the whole bill, their $5,000, the state $10,000, and then late reimbursement.
We're going to get the website. We're going to get the website that gives this information.
Yeah, MySafeFLHome.com. I think what he's saying is that condos are not included, so I guess that's something we can bring up. It's a possible bill idea for next year, but there's a reason why they didn't do it. I'm not sure what that is. And then the homeowner has to pay it out up front and then hope to get repaid by the government. So, you know, it's not perfect. But this is one of their answers to the problem and what, you know, my colleague on the dais was talking about. But I think it is worthwhile whether they pay or not to get one of these wind mitigation reports, because if it is positive, it can help you. But sometimes the insurance agent said you can come back with a bad report and then you want to fight it, and then you're not any better off. But I don't think they're terribly expensive to begin with. You should do whatever you can to secure your home. Hopefully it brings down your insurance rates, but obviously it will keep your home more secure, one would hope.
Okay, did anybody else want to comment on that? Okay. Will statute 718 be changing to allow for loss limits, since many associations can't afford full limits or often can't obtain full limits due to the lack of carrier capacity? Think you can do something with the legislation with that? These are suggestions too.
Say the question again.
Okay. Yeah. Will statute 718 be changing to allow for loss limits, since many associations can't afford full limits or often can't obtain full limits due to lack of carrier capacity? I have another question. It's the same, basically the same one here. That was from Arthur Simon from Kings Point, and this is from Jay Warren from Pines of Delray. State requires 100% replacement insurance. Why not allow lesser percentages, such as 75% or 80%? Okay, and what do you think? You don't think that's a viable?
So I know of no legislation at this point, but we've barely started, right? Our first interim committee meeting will be in 2 weeks, in Tallahassee. So whether or not we're going to be looking at 718 and any kind of glitches that we might be able to offer in terms of what the requirements are for condo associations in terms of the reserves and the insurance, I don't know of any of those as of yet, but we have just barely started. If you have a specific change that you're talking about that we could introduce, I'd be happy to talk to you after.
Is there a coastal zone that might no longer be insurable? If yes, where is it? This is from Arthur Cohen from Lenny Wilson Country. Is there a zone that's not insurable?
We don't think so. Just to get back to something about the condo bill, I don't think any of you live in a building taller than 3 stories.
Oh,
Do?
They are taller than 3 stories.
Okay, because we're just thinking of West LA, East LA, yes.
Yeah,
but-
well, Huntington Point, Huntington
Okay,
Lakes.
because the buildings that are under 3 stories, like if you have a townhouse or like one of those garden villas that have a quad, those are exempt from the new bill as far as keeping the reserves. That was a change that was not in the first bill, but was fixed last year. So the ones that are 3 stories and above, I'm sorry, 3 and 4, I'm sorry. That the condo bill does still apply to you. I know it's not the topic today. It is always being looked at and trying to revise. So as Representative Skidmore said, if you have suggestions on how to fix that bill in ways that it's hurting those particular buildings, please let us know and we can try to get them in the next bill.
Next, Representative Casello wants to make a statement.
Yeah, thank you. Like I had said earlier, none of us up here in this panel are experts in insurance. And the ideas and some of those questions that you're asking here, I would encourage you to call into our offices where we can actually put it, maybe some of these good ideas that you have in a form of a bill in filing this legislation. You know, some of our ideas that come and some of these bills that we move forward comes from the public. They come into the office with a phone, either with a phone call or come into the office, and there's an issue, an overlaying issue that affects a lot of people. And then we take it, we formulate it into a policy, put it in bill drafting, we look at it, and if it works, we think it can work, we file it. So some of the ideas that you have that we can mitigate this insurance issue with, I would encourage you to call our offices. And we can sit down and have that conversation. Because some of the best ideas come from you. And we work for you. We can move it forward. But we need those ideas. If you have them, share them.
Well, thank you, and that's what our piece of paper that we have here that we gave to you here. And these questions, we're going to write them all down, and we're going to send them to each one of you as well. The Alliance will write all these down. And also, form a statewide committee. That's one of our last suggestions of stakeholders, including homeowners, to work on the insurance issue. One other very interesting suggestion that I received from a civic activist that I was sitting at lunch with, to make a cap on insurance if you're homesteaded. Like there's this cap on your homestead. Can you get a cap on insurance if you're homesteaded? And also, if an insurance company plans to leave the state, right when they are vetted to sell insurance in the state, once they plan to leave the state, they must do it over a period of time, not just drop out. So you might not be able to do it to insurance companies now, but companies that are being vetted in order to actually sell in the state, to be told in the contract that you're going to have to leave over a period of time. You can't just drop everybody. That was a good suggestion from someone. Is there, okay, so, okay, here's Richard Gigliotti, yes, our friend from High Point of Delray, Section 1. He signed a contract for community insurance with Citizens. Why were they allowed to reevaluate or reappraise the property after the contract was signed? That's something that could maybe go in Florida statute, that once they sign a contract. What do you think? Would anybody like to take that up?
I would say that that's a question for the Office of Insurance Regulation. I don't know the specific law reference of whether or not you can, Citizens has authority to do that, but it would certainly be something to take up with the Office of OIR and the new insurance commissioner By the way, there is a, Senator Polsky, you might know, Senator Book has an online event tonight with the Commissioner of Insurance. So for those of you who are interested in getting more insurance into your day, there's an online webinar tonight with Senator Book and the Commissioner.
Okay, great. Well, we have some other comments here, like, will the state of Florida help relieve the burden communities are paying for exorbitant property insurance premiums? David Ressler from Bellagio Reserve just wants to know that. Well, that's a rhetorical question, right? Definitely.
Lori, I can respond a little bit to that. There is certainly money, I mentioned this in the beginning, there is money that could be used to alleviate the situation, but they choose not to. There's an enormous budget, and the priorities, where the money goes is the priorities of the governor and the legislature, and so that's how you know what they value. And so if there are no subsidies that are being given to not only homeowners, but renters are also having to pay a lot more because their landlords are paying more in property insurance. So, as I said, I easily identified, a lot of wasted money. The immigration, moving people from one state to another that have nothing to do with Florida. The governor's travel while he's campaigning for president. The Florida State Guard, the new made-up military force. Hundreds of millions of dollars that is, in my mind, wasted that we could be using. Even if we can't give subsidies to people, we could hire a lot more inspectors. When Representative Skidmore said, if you have a problem and you call OIR and you say, I have a complaint, Jimmy Petronis, the CFO, has 12,000 complaints in his office from January. Is he doing anything about it? I have no idea. We've never heard. We don't get information. We could hire more people to take these insurance companies to task for making sure they pay and they do the right thing. If they do the right thing, there wouldn't be litigation, there wouldn't be any problems, there wouldn't be, but that's not the model for insurance. The model is don't pay and until you really complain. It's like with medical insurance. Until you really complain and take it up, then you'll get reimbursed. And watch what's happening with auto insurance. I'm sure all your bills have gone up. That's the next hurdle we can talk about next week.
Yes, my auto insurance went up. Go ahead, Mayor Weiss.
Yeah, thank you. And just to piggyback on to what Senator Polsky said, I mean, 2 months ago, the state of Florida turned down $377 million from the federal government for clean energy funds. Those funds could have been used to offset other funds that could be made available to help shore up so everything is a trade-off. When these decisions are being made, they're impacting and affecting us. And I mean, the other part of homeowners insurance that we need to talk about, I mean, is our property insurance, not just the windstorm, because our property insurances are also much higher here. I'm aware in other states, properties valued the same, similar to my house, are paying a third in property insurance. So just regular liability insurance. And so who's looking at that? And I encourage our representatives and senators to look into the entire insurance market. And as Senator Polsky said, auto insurance here is outrageously expensive as well compared to other states. Why? And we just allow this to go on and on and on, and we keep paying the bills.
I have a few more cards here, questions, but there's a few questions here that have nothing to do with property insurance, but I'll just address it right now. This, someone wants to know why there's one lane blocked at the light at the corner of Atlantic and Lyons, and there's not been any construction done there in months. Traffic is blocked up. I know that because I go out there. I live in the Agricultural Reserve. And that's because I asked this exact question at a meeting with the entire engineering department that was at what was it? It was at one of the meetings of one of the communities, and he said that once they start construction, they can't have one lane. They can't have 2 lanes going to 1 lane, so they can't block that one. They have to block it off with the whole turn, and that's why. And if you want to know, one of my board members just told me that those barrels that are separating, they cost $1.50 a day to rent. So they have a real reason to get that expansion going. But you're going to hear more of that on Friday from Vice Mayor Sachs's informative coffee talk. We gotta have to stop taking some of these cards. We have to be out of here by 11. But let's see. Oh, and the Florida amount of increase for the Florida FP&L and the water bills, I'll get that to you because our legislators wouldn't know that off the cuff. And also there was a question about garbage pickup in the city of Delray Beach, and I'll get that information out to you. So what happened? We just have a couple more here. Why does Citizens Insurance not have reinsurance? I don't know if they do or they don't. Does anybody know that?
Yes, they do.
Okay, that's good. And somebody's saying we should all bond together, all of our alliance communities, to confront the insurance companies. Well, we're doing that now, working with our legislation. And here's an interesting question. Is the management company allowed to raise the amount of the property to the insurance company every year they raise it? It sort of doesn't make a whole lot of sense, this question, but property value, management companies, you know, they don't set the rates at all. And I really got to all the questions.
Dr. Vinicourt, can I just talk about one more thing? I know we're running out of time, but I want to make sure when we talk about companies who become insolvent, not want to just make a decision to leave. FIGA, the Florida Insurance Guarantee Association, is the agency that is responsible for taking over those policies and processing all the claims. If the company that is leaving because it's insolvent did not have enough reserves or did not have enough money, every individual policyholder in the state of Florida can be assessed to help cover those costs. So as you're thinking about the companies who leave because of insolvency, understand that we're all on the hook for that as well. So it's just another little nail in the coffin of, you know, our insurance industry and our insurance policies in the state of Florida.
Well, thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, just you can come up here after and just try to catch one of our legislators going out. I see somebody raised a hand back there from the general public. So just stick around and answer an individual question. Thank you so much, folks. Remember next month.
Happy New Year, everybody. Shana Tova.
Next month, you pick up your copy of the new 718 and 720, depending on if you're in a condo or an HOA.